Here are some tips to help improve your Roblox builds. So the first tip is the color of your builds. So we have this building right here, but the colors are way too bright and they don't fit together that well. Kind of gives a unsaturated look to the overall texture of the house. So select the parts and then go to the properties window and then click on the color. Next, I'm gonna make it less bright by moving the cursor down, and then I'm gonna use this bar outside to change the darkness just a bit though. Keep in mind that it also depends on the type of game you're making. Say for example, I'm making a cartoon game, I would use these types of color in order to give the best cartoon look. But if you're making a realistic game, you probably want it to be darker and less saturated. And there's also some websites you can use to find colors that work well together. There's also different modes that you can find loads of different color and scheme. I will have the link to this website in the description if you want to try it out. But anyways, here's before and here's after. Now let's move on to the next tip. Tip number 2 is textures. Now, I don't just mean like default Roblox material. There's a lot of free texture packs you can use, like low poly cartoony builds. I personally use these two made by Dev for Hire and Flame Dev RBX. The links will be in the description. And for realistic builds, I always use this one. However, I don't really know who made it. But if you search for realistic textures, then you should find one that looks similar or the same. Even though I see people using textures, but for properties, they don't use it that good. For example, we have this brick wall, which has a texture, however, it's way too big and too visible. So if you select the texture, go to the properties window, and what we want to change is the studs per tile, U and V, also the transparency. I'm going to change the studs per tile to a bigger number, which will make the texture bigger. Then for transparency, I'm going to make it a higher number to make it less visible. And you can change these properties to whatever works best with whatever you're making. Tip number 3 is lighting. If you have bad lighting, then that can also ruin your builds. However, there are quite a few things you can do to change it. For example, if you're making a realistic game, you could use a custom skybox, add sun rays, and try out the future technology. And for a cartoony game, you could add a custom skybox, add in a color correction to change brightness, contrast, and saturation. But if you find it hard, you can look up some tutorials which show you exactly what to add and which properties to change. Anyway, here's before and here's after. Tip number 4 is rotation and movement. So if we head over to the model tab, we have this snap to parts window. Here you can change the rotate and move amount. Always make sure these two boxes at the side are always enabled. Otherwise, you'll turn off snap to part and make it so the parts don't line up. So the higher the number, the more stud it will move. I usually use 1 or 0.5 when I'm making bigger parts. Also 0.25 as well as 0.125 for smaller parts. Here's an example of a build only using one stud movement. And here's a build using multiple studs movements. Tip 5 is to use Blender. Using Blender, it helps you make things that you wouldn't be able to make in Roblox Studio. And it's also very convenient. The first time you try it, it's gonna be a struggle since you need to know the fundamentals in order to get used to the mechanics. And also, it's free. You can use it, you can download it. I'll have the link in the description. Tip number 6 is don't use free models. And a lot of you probably already know this, but they can sometimes have like hidden script inside of them. And also, it just looks a bit low quality and unoriginal. You can sometimes use them depending on what it actually is, like if you're using a free texture pack, or maybe if you're finding it hard making something, you could take a free model and just change it up a bit. But I recommend making them by yourself, and that way you should improve hopefully. Tip number 7 is to look at inspiration. Maybe you don't know what to make, or your build just looks awful and you need some ideas. What you can do is check out some pictures of other people's builds, whether that's on Google or Discord server. Just make sure you don't copy exactly, since you're looking for inspiration, not to rip it off and copy it. So try changing some stuff and adding your own original idea to it. And the final tip is to subscribe if you like to see more videos like this in the future. There should be links to everything mentioned in this video. Anyways, thanks for watching, and also have a nice day.